So today in this tutorial we are going to see how to use Maple. It doesn't matter if you have the 16 or 17 version, more or less they are the same. So first thing, we need to have Maple, and then in order to follow this tutorial we will open this pre-done file. So I'm going to open this, and this will open Maple interface. So let me put it inside the frame. So basically I would define in a simple way that Maple is like a huge or really powerful calculator. So we will learn how to use it, and then it will really be helpful to check the exercises you have in class, like computing derivatives, integrals, plots, computing extrema, and everything. So let's see first what is the interface we are going to use. We are going to be using. So here you have that Maple 16 have different parts. So we are going to call the interface. So this is this part here where we are going to compute things. So if I just make a new file, you're going to have a new interface, and here you will be able to compute whatever we will need. Okay. So this will be the interface. Then it's also important to know where the palette items are. This is called the palette. Okay, and these are collapsible menus for shortcut buttons. So for instance, if we press to the expression palette, then you will see that we will be able to compute integrals, derivatives, square roots here, the exponential function, etc. So we have the interface, the palette, and then there are other things like the menu bar on top, the menu bar, the short keys, and what is important for us is to know this, which is going to be called context bar. So you see here that we will change from text to math, drawing, plot, or animation. So the most important things are the palettes and then the context part. So now let's see how we work in Maple. Here we will need to know the difference between being in text mode or math mode. Whenever we will be in text mode, this will be because we are going to write things like these comments, and math mode will be used to write formulas or compute things. So how we are going to change from text to math? So if we want to insert a text line, we can either go to insert text, okay, like here, but since I'm also already in text, so insert text, or use the shortcut Ctrl+T, which is the one I'm going to use, or also you can press this text button here in the context bar. Okay, so you have three ways of doing it. Ctrl+T will be the fastest way, but also you can press text. Okay, so whenever you are writing text, you will see that the text button, like now, it's highlighted. If we want to enter a formula, so we can go to insert to the math. This will insert a formula, or activate the math button here, or also I'm going to use Ctrl+R. Okay, so Ctrl+T, Ctrl+R would be the fastest ways to do it. And also you can write formulas in the text or in a separate line like this. And to do this, what you are going to be doing is insert execution group. That you can also do it like doing Ctrl+K, Ctrl+J. This symbol here is because I'm working on a Mac. So Ctrl+J, Ctrl+K, this is the fastest way, or just pressing this button here. Okay, so let's try to do the next exercise, which is writing again the following text and expressions. So first we have to write a text. So we check that we are in text mode, and we start writing if we add. And now we need to enter a formula. So you can either press math or Ctrl+R. Ctrl+R, 1 divided by a. We press the right arrow, plus 1 divided by a, right arrow, and now we have to change to text. So either press text or Ctrl+T. We obtain, and now we need to insert another formula. So either press math or Ctrl+R. Ctrl+R, 1 divided by 4, right arrow in the keyboard, Ctrl+T, put the dot. This is how we toggle between text and formula. And now imagine that we want to add a formula in a separate line. This is going to be called command line. So now we go to Insert, Execution Group. After cursors, which will be Ctrl+J, I'm not going to be doing this. You can do Ctrl+J or press this button here. So we do it once. You can also press Ctrl+J to check that it works. And now here we just plug the formula again, 1/8 plus 1/8, right arrow equals 1/4, okay? So now this is like Windows. You can just select and swap and press the sub button to suppress, okay? So we've seen that we can write formulas in the text or in separate command lines. And from now on, we are going to be using always command lines because we are not going to insert like commands with formulas, but we are going to compute, to make computations. So we are going to work with separate command lines. Okay. So now that we know how to do it, we have to know that there are two different ways to work with formulas in Maple. The one is called Math2D and the other one is called Math1D. Which is the difference? Math2D is like this one here. It resembles how we write things in a paper. So if we want to write 1/8, we are going to write it like this, if we write it by hand. And this is easy. But there is another way, which is called Math1D, that is the way that we used to work in Maple some years ago. It's less intuitive, but if you want to learn advanced Maple things, you need to know how to work in Math1D. So you will be required to both know how to do things in Math1D and also in Math2D. So let's see how we do it. We have here a command line, insert some other ones by pressing Ctrl+J or Ctrl+K. We would like always to have more than one, usually 2 or 3. Okay, and then if we need, we can just select and press the sub button and that's it. So now, why we know we are in 2D? Because if you see the cursor, it's slanted. Okay, if you now press F5, you're going to see that your cursor becomes straight. So pressing F5 changes the mode of your cursor. Okay, if you are in a slanted mode, this is Math2D. If you write, you will be writing in black. Then if you press F5, as you write, you will see it in red. So this red, this mode is you are typing things in Math1D. Okay. So let's see how we do things in both ways. So we start by pressing F5. So we start in 2D mode, and then we do 2 times. Remember that in order to, you have to put the product sign, because this is not how we write, this is a computation. Okay, so 15/2 plus 3/7. We close the parentheses, and then if we press intro or return, then you have the result. Okay? Now, let's do it in 1D. So we press F5, we change the mode, and then we do the same again. But you will see that it looks like more what you enter in a calculator, okay? So the important thing is that when you write in 1D, you always have to put a semicolon at the end of the line, okay? If you don't put the semicolon at the end of the line, then you will see that you get an error, okay? So now I'm going to remove it, okay? And you get the error inserted missing semicolon at the end of the statement. So you should come here, insert the semicolon, and everything will be okay. Okay, so advantages of Math2D, that is very intuitive, it's really easy to use. Advantages of Math1D, that you can see the errors really easy, and then that it's used to do advanced things. And let's do the next exercise. So I'm pressing Ctrl+Sup to suppress this line. Remember that we are going to introduce more than one line, Ctrl+J, Ctrl+K for this button here. Now, using the palette, we have to compute an integral. So we go to the expression palette, and you see that you find the integral sign, so you press it. And now, every time you use the palette, you will have different arguments in every command. So you need to know that you have to press the tab button to go from one place to the other. So we are in the F, so we press sign of X. And then to change this X, we press the tab button, okay, tab X, and then you just press the result, okay. Now, what about if we want to do it in Math1D? We don't know how to do it, so we just copy, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+V, or either you select it like copy, okay. And now, a very interesting thing is that if you go here, and then you just, let me put it inside the frame. If you press the right button, oh, it turns outside, okay. Okay, let me check if I can do it for you. So at the end of this, you will have, even though you cannot see it now, 2D convert to Math1D, okay? So let me put it in another way, so you are going to see what I'm telling you. If you have this fraction, then you can go and search at the bottom of, if you press right click, you have 2D convert to 1D, okay? So you need to do the same with this, even though it's out of my display window. So you go to the end, 2D convert to 1D, okay? And now I'm gonna delete this. You see that in order to compute an integral in Math1D, you need to use the command int, then you place the function, comma, the variable which is x, okay? So you can see that in order to learn Math1D, what you can do is enter the expression in 2D, which is easier, and then just convert it to 1D. So now you know the basic things about Maple, how to use Math2D, Math1D, and how to convert from one another. But here in this box, you have different things that maybe they are going to be useful. I'm going to now detail what we are going to use more. The command line, don't forget that this is going to be called command line, and you can insert them by Ctrl+J, Ctrl+K, or this button here. We are not going to use this, but if you want to execute all the worksheet, you can press these 3 exclamation signs here, or if you want to execute a selection, you just select it and then press, you just select something and then press this exclamation here. Important thing, the semicolon, okay? Remember that you need it in Math1D mode at the end of the line. Remember that otherwise you will get this warning, insert a missing semicolon at the end of the statement, okay? So now, let's do the next exercise. Remember again to have more than one line below. So we don't know how to use Math1D directly, so we are going to do it in Math2D, and then we're going to change it. Okay, so let's use the palette expression again. So we are going to press square root, the exponential function, the logarithm, insert 4. And since we are in 2D, we don't need to put a semicolon at the end. So we just press intro or return. So we got that the result is 2. And let's see how we would do that in Math1D. So we copy it again. We press the right hand side button, to the math, convert to 1D, okay? A bit on top, to the math, convert to 1D. And now what we see is that if we want to compute the square root of something, we need the command square root. So pressing F5, remember F5 every time we want to change. Square root of 4, it's 2, square root of 9, it's 3, okay? The exponential function, it's the x command, and the logarithm is the ln command. So an important thing that you always make mistakes, let's change some lines to Math1D by pressing F5. What's the difference between this expression and this? Can you see the difference between the results? Now, or let's put exponential of 1, which is the number e. So, if you see the difference, this e is slanted, okay? And this e is straight. So, this means that this letter, e, it's like an A, like a B. It does not have a numerical value, okay? And otherwise, this one is the number e. So you can see the difference by placing a decimal point. If we do this, you will see that you get the numerical value of the a number. And otherwise, if you do it like this, you get something which is like a letter. So a to the power 1 or b to the power. So remember that whenever you want to place an exponential function, you need to use the X button. If you forget, just press the expression palette and place it. You can know that you are doing correctly if you place a dot after them. It's like putting 2.0 and then you get a numerical value. Okay. Otherwise, if you do it like this, you don't get anything. So remember that you can use the palette whenever you want, and then if you need to do it in Math 1D, you just convert it using the right-hand side button of the mouse. Okay, right-click on the mouse. So now you know how to put expressions in 2D and convert them in 1D. Let's now see what are the context-sensitive menus, because they are going to be quite useful. So let's again insert some lines, Ctrl+J, Ctrl+K, and now we are going to enter this expression. So x to the power 2, the power is the bottom, which is called the circumflex. Okay, I'm going to put in 1D so that you know which sign you have to press. Okay, so you have to press this circumflex in order to go up. Otherwise, if you don't know how to do it, you just come here to the palette and put X, tab button 2. Okay, so you have many different options, and remember to put the product sign between every number, between every two numbers. Okay, so now we have this polynomial here, x squared plus 2x plus 1, and now let's look at what are the context sensitive menus. So we place the mouse in the result and we right click on the mouse. These are the context-sensitive menus. These menus shows the most important things we can do with this result. In this case, with a polynomial, Maple suggests that you can want to find the coefficients, or to differentiate, or to evaluate the polynomial at a point, or factor the polynomial, integrate, compute limits, or plot. Okay, so let's start with factorizing. So if you press factor, you see that you find that this polynomial x squared plus 2x plus 1 is the same as x plus 1 all squared. You can also compute its derivative, differentiate with respect to x. And now you see that the derivative of x squared plus 2x plus 1 is 2x plus 2. Or you can also compute its integral, okay, integrate with respect to x. And now what you see is that the command to integrate is int. We already seen that. In order to differentiate, you have to use the diff command, and in order to factorize, you need to use the factor command. Okay. So an important thing is that what does this 1.9 means? This is a label. Okay. So it's 1.9. When you do this, okay. So what you can do is to say, okay, I'm going to copy this. I want to integrate this function, this polynomial, so you can copy and paste it. Or in Maple you can also introduce labels, but the labels are not inserted like this. You can note that here they are in boldface and these are not in boldface. So how we are going to do this? In order to insert a label, you go to insert label and you see that it's Ctrl+L. So you're going to press Ctrl+L and insert the number of the equation. So now you have the label correctly, and then you can integrate. Okay, so context-sensitive menus, remember that you can do whatever you want. For instance, we don't know how to make plots, but we can try to make a 2D plot and see what comes out. So using the command smart plot, you get a plot. Okay, so context-sensitive menu, they are quite important in order to do simple things with Maple. Okay, so let's remove these lines here by deleting this. And now you know the basic things about Maple, that are using the palette, okay, changing from math to text, math to the math 1D, and also the context sensitive menus. Once you know this, you can do pretty much things with Maple. And the most important thing is that you know how to use Maple Help, because with the things we have just seen and the Maple Help, you will be able to do a lot of things. So how do we use the Maple Help? So you can do to help Maple Help, and this will open another window, and here you can search whatever you want. Okay, this is not, or even you can go to these collapsible menus. Okay, so you can expand these menus, but this is quite a tricky way of looking at the help. Another way is if you know the command, you can put it like this and make search like sqrt, because we already know that this computes square roots. It takes a little bit of time. Okay, or you can put another command that we know, the int command. Okay, so if you know the command, it's easy, but we're not going to do it like this. So if you know the command of a function, okay, you can just put a question sign and the function name. So what would we do? I'm just inserting new lines, and I always like to do it in 1D mode, so press F5. So in order to search for the sqrt help, you just press question mark sqrt and the help will open. Okay. Another important thing, whenever you want to look at the help, you can read all of this, but I suggest that you directly go to the examples where you see how to use it, and you just have to copy and paste. Okay. So let's see in this example, they say that we need I factor to compute the integral factorization of a number. So we go to I factor, question mark I factor, and we open the help by pressing intro. And we go directly to the example section. You can see here I factor a number, so it's factorization. So remember, Ctrl+C to copy, and we paste it F5 in 1D mode. Okay. So now, this is the factorization of 161, so we press 144. We get it's equal to 2 to the power 4 times 3 to the power 2. Then we change the lines with F5 again. Okay. So are these numbers prime numbers? So you do it. 2, 3, 4, 9, 7. And then you see that 23,493 is not a prime number because it has 341 and 191 as its divisors, and on the other hand, 23,497 is indeed a prime number. Okay, so remember that we just open the help of the command and then go to the examples, copy and paste. With the copy and paste thing, you will avoid doing mistakes like missing a comma, missing a parenthesis, and everything. Okay? Now let's see something that you are not really going to use a lot, but just for you to know, which is the complete command tool. Okay, so whenever you are writing something, for instance, let's press F5, int, and you go to tools, complete command, or control space, you get all the commands that start with int. Okay, so this is useful, for instance, if you want to write quite a large thing, so you don't have to write it. Okay, so let's see how it works with this example here. Press F5 again because we want to be in 2D mode. X, we want to write this thing, space, and now they say that this symbol starts with SCN. We don't know which this symbol is, but we press Ctrl space, and then we get all the commands that start with SCN. In particular, the one we want is the third one, SCN sim. We press it, then we type Y, and you already have this. Okay, so you can suppress the lines. Always leave one line below. Okay, just suggestion. So now, to finish, let's do this exercise. Insert Ctrl+J, Ctrl+K. So first we are going to introduce the determinant of this matrix. We are going to do it first in 1D, looking at the help, and then we are going to do it in 2D. So 1D, F5, question mark, determinant. Let's see if looking at this help we are able to know how to introduce the matrix and then compute the determinant. So press intro. And now suggestion, go always to the examples. Okay? In the examples, whenever you find a width line, you have to copy it and F5, paste it. Okay? And also execute it with pressing intro. Why? Because this is a package, and when you execute this line, you get all these functions that were not initially loaded. So if you want to use the determinant function command, you need to use with linear algebra, because otherwise this is not a function which Maple has itself, but you have to load this package. So whenever we go into the help and find a width line, you have to copy it. And then we are going to copy this example. It's a matrix and a determinant, so paste it in with F5 in 1-2D mode. What would this line be? Matrix 3, this is the size, so we change it to 4. Now, triangular lower means that we have zeros up above the diagonal. We don't have it in our matrix, so we take it out. And now, if you look, the numbers are placed by row. So A is the first number, B, C, the second row, D, E, F, the third row. So we now have minus 93, minus 32, 8, 44 in the first row, and then we have minus 76, minus 74, 69, 92. And now we enter the third row, minus 72, minus 4, 99, minus 31. And now we copy this again and put a third line, minus 227, 29, 67. Okay? And now that we get the matrix, we just press determinant. So you can see that this is the first day we use in Maple, but using the help, you can do quite a lot of things. Okay? Now, let's try to do it in Math 2D directly. So you can see that you have a matrix palette. Okay? So now press F5 to have the cursor slanted. So instead of a 2x2 matrix, we need a 4x4. And we don't need to change anything here because the matrix is, all the numbers are, they don't have a pattern. So we just press insert matrix. And now remember that we have to use the tab button to change from one place to the other. So I'm putting the numbers and pressing tab. So minus 76, minus 74, minus 69, 92, minus 72, minus 4, 99, minus 31, minus 2, 97. You can put whatever numbers you like. So this is a simple way to enter a matrix, easier than in 1-2D mode. And now let's see if the context-sensitive menus allows us to compute the determinant. So we just come here and place the right click on the mouse. And now you have commands. Since we have a matrix, we don't have a plot or a factor or integration. So we have, for instance, browse, which means see the matrix, eigenvalues, the norm. Well, we can plot, but it's not, plotting a matrix is not important. And then we don't see determinant, but if you go to standard operations, you have determinant, inverse, trace, transpose. Okay? So in this case, we will press standard operations determinant, And if we haven't made any mistake, we'll get the same result. Okay? So you can either use the palette and then the context sensitive menu, or go to the help of a command and then try to do it. So this is what you need to know. Let me close this section. All you need to know about Maple in the first session. And now here you have some exercises that you should be able to do without any help of a teacher. So let's look at them. Exercise 1, 2, exercise 3 and 4, and exercise 5 and 6. So you can go here and try to do the exercises. Okay? So next session we'll see more things about Maple.